going through the ContractsXpert element to it, because what this is to try and demonstrate is how our software all kind of interwines with each other, how we can kind of go from having the estimate done to producing the other paperwork. There are going to be a number of other demonstrations this week, namely on health and safety expert, as well as the project expert, and then obviously we've got today the contracts expert as well. So for those that are either kind of using Estimator Express, and once you've pretty much done your just bear with me one sec, seeing whether or not we've got some audio issues. Just try and turn this up a little bit. Can you hear me now? Just want to make sure that I'm actually kind of coming through loud and clear. Excellent stuff. Might just be my volume, my side. So just to kind of recap, this week we're going to be running through a number of the demonstrations on our products, how they all kind of interact with each other, how we can produce an estimate, and then we can produce the contracts, we can produce the health and safety documentation, as well as the kind of project management. So this morning we're going to be, as I said, focusing on the ContractsXpert software. So if we've already done the estimate, a couple of features on ContractsXpert. You'll see there we can either produce or start a new contract, or we can do an open contract, or we can import a job from Estimator Express. So if I click on the import job, we are then presented with the estimates within Estimator Express. The one I'm going to pick is going to be my NIC, my lean-to extension, and I'm going to produce a contract for NIC. Now, it's going to assign a job number, as you can see there, job number 5. The estimate price that's actually coming in is going to be a price with or without inflation. So I can select which one I want to bring in. I'm going to bring it in with the inflation price. We've also got the client's details here, which are brought in from the estimate as well as the kind of site address, how long the job's the duration. We're looking at 105 days, and then we've also got our build phases listed from the estimate as well with prices. On the bottom right hand corner, we're going to click on next. Just wait while that goes to the next screen. So now we're on the next screen. We can change that job reference number if we want to. We can put in the any wording in there, but that is obviously bringing in the information that was on the estimate. The date of the contract, we can specify a contract date, and that allows me to then change the contract date. But it will be allowing the contract date when we actually publish at the very end of the creation of the contract. How many days after the contract date will you actually start work? Again, we can change that to whatever we want it to be. We're going to state that it's going to be 30 days. The builder, the contractor, which is going to be your details, and again, you can actually bring in the information from there by clicking on that button there. If the details aren't in there, we can actually add as a new one. So I'm going to put in there Bob Builder, Mr. Company, Bob Builder Limited. So I can put in, and I can then designate that as the builder contractor, or they could be the designer as well as the supplier as well. So you can kind of designate them in different areas with the address details as well as phone numbers. So I'm going to select Bob Builder and press select. So that's us filling in the information within the contract. We can also change the whether or not we want to change that from a domestic to a commercial contract. Is the site address the same as the client's? Yes or no. Again, if we press no, we can actually fill in the site address as being different. And again, we can use the the little icon there to actually change it, and that will filter out the client's, the employer's information there. Is the client employer using an authorized representative? Well, we can do that, and then again we can put in the information if we have a little information within the software for the authorized representative. I'm just going to click no for the time being. Does the builder contractor have the responsibilities for the design work? Yes, they do. Description of the works. We can, and as you can see there as well, when we do hover over any of the boxes, it does give you a little kind of description, does give you a little kind of help menu to explain it. Do both parties agree that notices may be sent via email? Yes, we can. So again, that will then be stated on the contract once it's been published. Who is the nominating body for adjudication? So we can either choose Tech Bar, TEXA, RICS, the Royal Institute Charter Surveyors, or another supplier, which again I can actually type in there who they are. I'm going to say it's going to be Tech Bar for the time being. Now you'll see here as well where it says verify fields on by clicking next. If you do click next, the software does tell you there are potentially 8 issues with the data that we've actually entered. Do you want to review them? Yes or no? I'm just going to click no for the time being, and I'm actually going to untick. I'm just going to go back to that. It's going to untick that field because, but what that's kind of serving as is a little warning, just in case the information you've kind of popped in there, and it will ask you just to kind of verify the information in there. So you can switch it on, switch it off. It's completely down to you. Might be an idea just to kind of keep it on for the time being, just so you get used to the information that the software is asking for. So now we're on page 3 of 10. We're now indicating what services are going to be required. So the supplier, the client can actually supply the toilet and washing facility, possibly telephone, fax information. Maybe they're supplying the Wi-Fi wire there. And again, just so we, in the event that for some reason you connect to the Wi-Fi and they dispute this, maybe you've kind of used up all their kind of data, or something was downloaded inadvertently, then you can actually kind of state that that was agreed before the actual work kind of got carried out, especially electricity. If they find that their electricity bills kind of jumped up, well, it was already kind of stipulated on the contract that that was going to be an allowance on there. Working hours on the job, you can see there it does automatically say that Sunday we're not working, but it could be on this particular job you're not working Wednesdays and you're not working Fridays, or you are working Fridays, and what we can say is we can actually factor into the contract you're going to be finishing at 1 o'clock on a Friday. So if they're wondering where you are at 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, again you can kind of come back to the contract and say, well, this was all agreed and kind of signed off as part of the contract. Site restrictions on the job, if there is any, again you can actually type into these kind of sections, limited working hours, for example, any other kind of limitations that I mean, it might be that you can't get any plant into the site, so everything's going to be dug out by hand. So if they're wondering why things are taking a little bit longer when we're digging out foundations, etc., again we can also kind of come back to the contract and mention that that was already factored in there. Health and safety requirements or certainly obligations. Is the client a domestic client for CDM purposes? And then again, we can then kind of designate who's going to be the principal contractor for CDM, and also who's going to be the principal designer as well. You do have the option of actually clicking on that for it's not going to be applicable to this particular job, but you do have this kind of option to pop in the health and safety. And again, that's going to be one of the other sessions we're going to be kind of running this week on the health and safety expert software. It's going to be the next page. This is going to be the quotation information. So that's bringing in the price we've got in the in Estimator Express that it's brought through, 72,686, excluding any VAT. We've got the VAT applies at a uniform rate on all payments, or it could be at different rates or on specific bills, or just not at all. But we're going to put in there the uniform rate. We've got the 20% rate in there, so we've got the total price including that. Profit margin on prime cost sums. How long is the quote actually valid for? It could be 28 days rather than 30. And we've also got the job duration date as well. On the right-hand side, is there going to be any warranty? Well, yes, there is. Who's supplying that warranty? It could be the NHBC, could be FMB insurance if you deal with the FMB, or it could be another person who's actually supplying the warranty on the job. I'm just going to click FMB for the time being. The price breakdown at the bottom, this is then kind of breaking down into your build phases and what the costs are around those build phases. So again, information that's actually pulling in from Estimator Express. You do have the ability of actually deleting some of these lines if you want to. For example, landscaping and site acquisition, there's nothing in there. Also as well for design phase and completion, I can get rid of the zeros. Or I can actually add my own line to this list if I wanted to as well. I can put extra lines in there. You've also got the section down here for provisional sums. And again, I can actually add that line as the going to be connected to the contract. So clicking along to step 5 of 10, is there going to be an advance payment? Yes, there is. How much is that going to be? Let's say that they're actually going to give us the £5,000. Going to be an advance payment. Advance payment due date is going to be 7 days, or we can change that to 14 days, depending on what your kind of T's and C's are. Final bill payment period, we've got 7 days. Final bill payment due days, it's going to be 7 days. Will this contract actually include retentions? Yes, it will be. What is the percentage of the retentions you've got in there? We've got 2.5. If we need to include any documents, so we can click on Add Document, give the title of the document, who the author is, and what the actual date is. And then these documents, once the contract's been published and presented, you can then attach the documents that you need to kind of pop on there. The estimate, schedule of works, and any other work documents as well. So again, the estimate that you actually give to the client could be, again, be part of the documents that you apply. So you could actually have this contract in place before you even kind of present. And again, it is a kind of a selling tool to you and your customer, because it makes sure that they're very clear on the contractual obligations of you as a builder. You want to put a contract in place to protect not just yourself but also them as well. So this could all be kind of part of your kind of selling process when you're sitting down with the customer and producing a very quick, simple contract to them. Any suppliers, PC sums. Nature of the work as well. Again, the subcontractor details. If we do include a subcontractor in there, again, we can click on there and we can have the subcontractors, the details on there. And then that's page 9 and 10. Now, this is a preview of the contract. So you can, at this stage, just kind of scan down here. You can kind of see here, just opening up on the information, on the site details, the works that are going to be carried out. And you've also got your kind of contract price in there with the percentages already kind of factored into the contract. And then it starts going into the actual contract details, the articles within the agreement, kind of registering them, making these kind of reference points where they're kind of on the contract. And then you've got a kind of a print off signed by the employer, signed by the contractor. And then you've got the contract, the details, which you can kind of read through at this stage if you need to. But when you kind of press finish, what this then allows you to do is actually publish the contract. And we can actually do that clicking on that button there where it has the contract details. Now you'll see here it does open up the tab. So even at this stage, after you've kind of created the contract through the wizard, you can go back into it and change any of the kind of elements, the kind of site details. Again, if you need to kind of go back to there, or you've actually agreed, okay, well, you're actually going to work till 2 o'clock instead on that particular day, and it also you are going to be kind of coming in on Sundays and maybe kind of working kind of a couple of hours on a Sunday. So again, you can change these kind of elements at this stage, the kind of money side of it, maybe the warranty changes, and any kind of payments as well. Now, once you're kind of quite happy with any changes you make here, if you click on the contract, so what we're actually doing here is actually publishing it with the on a PDF. I'm just going to ignore that for the time being. It's just telling me there's maybe 16 sections that I just need to kind of review. So if I clicked on that, it would tell me the sections I need to kind of go back to, but I'm not going to do that today. And then what we've actually got here is the contract, and that's going to be in the kind of a PDF format we can then kind of save off, print off. So it's actually 43 pages, a 43-page document that you can then kind of produce. And again, as I said, it just protects yourself, protects the client. Everybody's on the understanding what's going to be supplied on the on this particular job. There's a couple more documents up here as well. Maybe the customer, rather than the 30 days, they want you to pretty much kind of start straight away. What you can do is you can actually click on this Start Work Now button, and what that will do is actually publish another document where you can then kind of start work straight away, and that's then kind of signed off. So you've got instruction to kind of start work now from the client. You've also got a cancellation form which you can provide to them as well. So if they do want to kind of cancel on the actual job, there is a cancellation form that they have to fill in. So if they haven't filled it in and you're about to start it, then again the kind of contract states that you can recover any monies and stuff based on the job actually starting. And you've also got your notice of right to cancel document in here. So it's not just a contract you've actually got. You do have another couple of, so they can actually have the right to cancel the contract within 14 days without any kind of given reason. Now, if that isn't the case, and you're probably 7 days out in the cancel, then yeah, you can kind of reclaim money back on them. There's a couple of options in here as well about putting company logos in here. So if you have got a company logo, you can upload that to the contract as well. So the contract, that kind of flows through the contract. And that's pretty much it. There's probably not too much. I mean, because of the wizard system that ContractsXpert kind of takes you through, it's very simple, very easy to kind of follow, especially if you've actually done the estimate. You can feed the estimate details into ContractsXpert and go through the wizards, highlight what's going to be on the contract, what's not, and then publish it. And then you've got a contract that's going to be binding between you and your customer. So we've been able to kind of run through that probably in as little as the kind of 20 minutes. Well, thanks very much for your time today, and I'm sure we'll be in touch very, very soon, and we'll speak in the future. Thanks, Ian.